my memory, again, once my stand-up thing really started taking off, it was so hard for me to catch up. But you did have one WrestleMania against Bray Wyatt, right?
Yeah, so the year after they broke the streak with Brock, that next year, I think it was in San Francisco, I worked with Bray, which it was, there wasn't a lot there. Right. I mean, he was pretty much fed to me to get me back on the, I would have loved to have worked a program. Yeah. He was one of those guys that, and I talk about it all the time, he thought outside of the box.
Totally. I didn't get to finish what I was saying earlier, where I was getting to the point to where one of the things that got me back into it during that time was him. Yeah. I mean, it was like my buddy Matt Edgar was like, dude, there's a new Undertaker. You're going to love him. He's like, there's this other guy that goes, yes, yes, yes. I remember Daniel Bryan being very, everybody else's guy. But he was spot on. When I saw Bray Wyatt come out with that lantern and his Louisiana, Bayou Goons, the Wyatt family, I was in. Yeah. Total throwback to your vignettes, like exactly the type of darkness that, gets my attention.
But a different kind of darkness.
Totally.
More of a, I don't know, like a Cape Fear turned way left. I mean, it was really good.
Yeah, it felt like it could be real, like scary real.
Yeah, it was. Especially the Wyatt family, the initial run. Yeah. And then I think they kind of screwed the pooch a little bit when they burned him and then had him come out. But even that, he still made it creepy and different. And but that's just, and I preach it all the time now. It's like, think outside of the box.
Totally.
Because don't emulate. You gotta think. You can look and take bits and pieces of things like, okay, I see why he's doing this, but if you try to duplicate it, then it's just like it's not gonna. One, it's not original, and two, it's just there's not enough meat left on the bone. But Bray, man, he was special. He really, really was special, and I would have loved to have had a really nice extended program.
Cena too at that WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean that was
a
freak
weirdest
show.
Yeah.
But even it was just like captivating. It wasn't a per se wrestling match, but it was entertaining and.
Yeah, I think that it's so interesting because, granted, they shocked us with it, and I get it. Brock was a big, bad man, and he was a real, obviously a UFC champion and a recognized wrestler and all of these things. Such a powerful force. I get it. Him being the one to break the streak. But and again, maybe this is just my silly dark brain, and maybe I'm biased because I believe in like passing the torch, giving someone like a real rub. Right. But what are your thoughts on maybe Bray getting to do that instead of Brock in retrospect?
Yeah, it would have been, and I've spoke on that. I don't think Brock needed it. Right. Brock was already, in my opinion, established star, mega star. Yeah. But I think a guy like, and Roman ended up being another mega star, but it would have been good for Roman to do it at the end of my career if you're going to pass it on. But Bray, if the storyline would have been done right, that would have been ideally. Yeah. It would have there's so much you could have done there. Yeah. Not only you're not passing the torch, you're passing spirits, you're passing
100%.
Yeah, right? Yeah. There would have been so many levels
generations
to that. Generation, exactly. Yeah. And shit that he would have been able, obviously, things happening different than what they did with him, but he would have been able to pull that crap out for years and years and years. There would have been so many, like I said, so many layers. Yeah. And that would have been, I think that would have been the ideal person to do that with. But
they could have potentially used your character for a few years as well, just in promos and things like that with Bray potentially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. what was the guys up there in 300? They had to go get were they oracles? They had to get the oracles okay to go to war.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. Yeah.
It's almost like he has to go to the throne.
Yeah, he has to go to the throne to declare war on somebody.
That's so cool.
Yeah, there's so much, like he has to go to the pits of hell or whatever to go to you that's sitting on this throne of death or whatever. Like, that could have. But so Tony, is Attitude Era your favorite era of wrestling, or was it like? I mean, it's everybody's, right?
I mean, how could it not be, right?
Yeah. I feel like it is. Outside of this guy, I mean, who were you on the edge of your seat for? I mean, because I feel like everyone during that time, I mean, every match was a great match. Every Monday night was must-see TV. It was better than any pay-per-view that you're going to watch. You know, it was amazing.
And it was just so funny. That's the thing. Like, it's like, I mean, it was just hysterical. Yeah, it was really just, the way that they were able to make it so refillable. It wasn't, it's not the most iconic moments that stand out to me. It's those random, it's when I'm on Twitter following these goofy wrestling things, the things that I forgot about. Just
you and me both.
Yeah. But it was just so crazy. I mean, it's interesting because, again, I graduated high school in 2003. So that was kind of like whatever happened right after that. Like, I moved to LA and like all these things. So like everything changed. So like when everybody started going, what? To Stone Cold, that's where I'm kind of like, that's just after my time.
Yeah.
So there's like a gap. There's a big gap between 2004 and like 2000, whenever Daniel Bryan and Bray were really like, yeah. So whatever that was, 2011, 2012, something like that. But I mean, man, The Rock, Stone Cold, all the promos, all the things that they were saying to start an episode, I'm such a sucker for intro music and the pop. I'm all about the pop.
All about
Sometimes
the pop,
if I need a pick-me-up, this is true, by the way. Like, if I need to like fire myself up, there's like a few things I watch. Kelly Pavlik, an old boxer from my hometown of Youngstown, beating Jermaine Taylor in a boxing match. There's a new middleweight champion of the world, and he's from Youngstown, Ohio, Jim Lampley says, and it gives me energy. But there's a lot of little wrestling ones. One of them is the first ever entrance of Chris Jericho, that final countdown where it's like a throwaway. You forgot the clock was running. It's this weird thing they were showing. It felt like 8 months of just this burn,
the clock running down to the year 2000. Yeah.
And that's one. Oh my God, when that music hits and you go pop, I mean, you hear and look at that crowd, it's insane. Even though I'm not a big WCW guy, that one time that they threw away that Monday night and and they let Goldberg beat Hogan on a random Monday in Atlanta in front of Goldberg's entire sold out stadium, and he gets them up in the jackhammer and jackhammers them. And I mean, I will give WCW credit for that. It's kind of charming in its trashy ways, because I kind of like the paper cups and everything being thrown into the ring. Gives it so much interesting flavor for an uncoordinated, sloppy fest.